So I think we can start by now. So welcome to the DraftSight webinar to find out why 2D CAD users are moving to DraftSight. But before we start, I would like to introduce us who are presenting for the webinar. It's me, Annika Andersson. I'm responsible for DraftSight for Euro North. And together with me, I have Ian Pilkington, who is a technical expert for our products, but also responsible for 3D experience in Euro North. But also before we start, I also would like to have a poll for you, so we are sure that you actually can hear us well. So we're launching the poll now here. I can see there is a few which can't hear us. I hope we can solve that. You can solve that during the way. It seems that most of us can hear us. And before we also start, I would like to mention that there is a possibility to give you your questions, to put your question in the question pane on the right-hand side, and we will follow up on the questions during the way, but also afterwards. We will have a Q&A for you, that we can also be an opportunity for you to ask questions. And if there is questions we are not able to answer, of course, we can come back to you afterwards. And we will have some multiple polls, which we appreciate if you can answer, because then we can see what you know about DraftSight and what level you are on when it comes to the knowledge of DraftSight. But anyhow, let's kick off. So the objective for the webinar. We would like to prove you that you can use DraftSight for your CAD needs and at the same time save a lot of money while you are on it. So why is DraftSight a good solution for you? We think it's a good solution for you if you would like to save a lot of money on your CAD tool, or at least save money on your CAD tool. You want to have a flexible licensing. We do have both perpetual and term license options. You want to have the multi-user option with network licenses. As many big organizations, this is a great opportunity to have a multi-user option, and many companies even want to have that, to have one license where many users can actually use the license on. But we do have a standalone license options too, in case that is something they would like to have instead. And also, you do have the possibility to choose a cloud solution. This is very beneficial for you if you are working from home or want to collaborate with your colleagues on a very close basis. For example, sharing documents, chatting with them during the way when you are working in your files, etc. So this is also a possibility on the standalone model. If you're unhappy with your existing CAD company, for example, we know now that AutoCAD is moving from multi-user option to standalone option. But that is maybe just one of them. There could be other reasons for why you want to move over from your CAD company. And in this case, DraftSight can be a really good opportunity for you. Before moving forward to telling you more about DraftSight, we would like to know if you have heard about DraftSight before. And in case how. Seems to be a pretty good mix here, which is great to see. So I hope that this webinar will be beneficial with the information for all of you. Wait just a few more. There's still a few about noting. Thank you. So for DraftSight, what is DraftSight then? We do have three kind of models of DraftSight. We have the online version, which I will not go in that much into because that is not handled locally. It is something that you can buy online with limited support, and it's standalone licenses. But just for your knowledge that we actually do have that kind of model too. But what we will talk about today is the Enterprise and the 3D Experience DraftSight. When it comes to the DraftSight Enterprise, it's a multi-user model with network licensing. You can buy it perpetual and on term basis. And you also get the full support from our resellers who you can work very close with during the journey when you're working with the DraftSight Enterprise. We also do have the 3D Experience DraftSight, which is a cloud solution. It's a standalone model. You have the cloud data management included into it. And with this one, you also have the full support from our resellers. This is, as I mentioned earlier, beneficial for you if you're working from home office or in some way want to collaborate and work very close with your customers and your colleagues. DraftSight as a tool is a professional, I would say mainly 2D CAD solution. But if you buy 3D Experience, DraftSight Experience Plus, you will get the 3D design solution. It's serving a huge 2D CAD market with over 250,000 clients worldwide by today. You can create and you can edit any kind of drawings, both with DWG files, DVT files, DXS files, and etc. It supports common design flows, blocks, and symbol libraries, customizable UIs, and comprehensive APIs, which is easy to move over from your existing AutoCAD or other CAD solutions and move over to DraftSight or even build them up in DraftSight. The good part, I would say, and the beneficial for you if you are moving from another CAD solution, is that it is really a minimal learning curve, which many of our customers who have bought it today are mentioning. Because of the familiar user interface, but also the commands. Let's say that you have an AutoCAD command which you don't really know the DraftSight command on. You just type it in into the DraftSight, and you find the DraftSight command for that. So it's very easy to move forward. You can easily and effortlessly go from in between 2D drafting and 3D modeling and back again. And as I mentioned earlier, the flexible license options is really something that I think is beneficial for all customers. Then we have the 3D experience DraftSight, which is the cloud model. It is the same as the desktop models, that you have the familiar interface, it's easy to create drawings, etc. But you can also manage revisions accurately. You can work in the latest file that has been created. If in case you have a lot of projects going on at your company, you can also track projects and even tasks by person and by timelines where you are at the project. So it's a very powerful tool, I would say. You can also access and share your drawings seamlessly in between your colleagues, even customers who are outside your company. And the good thing is also that you can collaborate efficiently and effectively through our chats, and even by when you're working with your file, you can start to chat and talk to your colleague or the person that you would like to contact during the way. Before I hand it over to Ian, I would like to show the portfolio we do have. As I mentioned, we do have the professional and premium version, which is the standalone licensing online, bought by online store only and with limited tech support. I would suggest definitely for the Enterprise and Enterprise Plus, which is the multi-user model with network licensing. You can buy the both perpetual and term models, and as I mentioned, also the full tech support, and you can work very close with our value-added resellers. And the Enterprise is for 2D CAD mainly, and then if you have 3D DWG design needs, there is an Enterprise Plus version. You can also buy, as on the right-hand side, you can see here the 3D experience platform that you can connect to DraftSight to, which is the named user licensing, and you do have the cloud data management included in that one. Full tech support, and you have both the professional 2D version here and the premium 3D version. Before I move forward and hand it over to Ian, I have another poll which I would like to show you. Sorry. Oops, sorry. How often do you view your 2D DWG files and drawings? It seems pretty many who are almost 50% on daily basis. Give it a couple of seconds more. I can see still people voting. Thank you so much for your feedback. And with that, I will hand it over to Ian, who will talk a little bit more about 2022 and even for the platform cloud version.
Okay, thank you, Annika. Change me to presenter. Can you see this? Annika, you still there? Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So it sounds like we've got a really good mix of users from some long-standing DraftSight users through to some people who've maybe not seen the tool before, and also people who create and work with 2D drawings every day, through to people who are using it more infrequently. So what I'm going to do now is just go through some of the enhancements to DraftSight 2022, which is going to be available next month, actually, not long away, about 3 weeks away, in the middle of November. And we've got 4 main enhancements to DraftSight 2022, and then I'm going to touch on something that Annika talked about, which is the 3D experience option for DraftSight. down in the final step. So we're going to start off with custom blocks, and I've got a short video that will explain exactly what we can do in DraftSight, especially now with the new enhancements in 2022. So dynamic blocks represent really a more intelligent evolution of blocks that we've kind of used in CAD software for years. And the difference is a simple block like this is no real intelligent. At best, you can scale it, rotate it, but not really much else. Now, a dynamic block or a custom block from DraftSight has additional grips and far more intelligence, like this door. For example, we could let's move on. So if we take this example of a multi-CAD with the ability to have multiple configurations and vary the geometry and its behavior based on some parameters and grips that have been incorporated into the block. So this custom block was created within DraftSight and shows how you can automate the design of these looking gates, saving a lot of time and effort. And I'm sure you'll agree, if you had to do that with a copy and paste and changing things, it would take a lot longer. If we take a look at a few more examples that illustrate different cases, in DraftSight you can work with both dynamic blocks created in AutoCAD and the custom blocks created in DraftSight. And the thing is that the custom blocks in DraftSight work just like dynamic blocks from AutoCAD. The only difference is that the dynamic blocks are created within AutoCAD and can be used within DraftSight as well, while custom blocks are created and can only be used within DraftSight. So an example, if we right-click on this dynamic block from AutoCAD, DraftSight shows us a new option which will convert it to a custom block. And if you click OK, you'll still allow us to edit the block, but it'll just be a simple block, and all the parametric actions that were configured would have been lost. But instead, if we choose to use convert option, the block editor opens, and now we can see that DraftSight does a great job of retaining all the parameters like length that were previously contained within the block. Now, the block editor can give users access to the block altering tool palettes with predefined parameters, actions, and constraints. And the ability to convert dynamic blocks into custom blocks makes it much easier for users to convert and improve on what you've already done without having to start from scratch. And let's take a look at this example. When we converted this dynamic block into a custom block, you can see that the visibility states are kept intact, as well as action grips and grips to modify the radius. And now under the visibility states, you can see there are 3 options with names, but they're actually written in Spanish. So you could go ahead and delete or add more states. In fact, what we'll just do is go and change the names into English. So now we can use the test block feature, which is really cool, and that lets you test the modified block before returning to the drawing. So it just gives you a bit of a what-if kind of testing environment. So if I close the test mode and the block editor and save the changes, now the block editor will have some capabilities, same capabilities as if it was a dynamic block, but it's now a custom block that can be reused wherever you want within DraftSight. So some really cool enhancements to be able to take these maybe dynamic blocks from AutoCAD, convert them, add intelligence, and reuse them within DraftSight. So the next enhancement is a little bit simpler to understand, I guess, and that's dark mode. Now, this is something, you know, many Windows applications, including SolidWorks, which I'm involved in, has had dark mode for 2 or 3 years. And this was a very highly requested enhancement for DraftSight 2022. So let's take a look at how simple it is to switch to dark mode. Basically, there's a right mouse button option in the menus. If you save your files, switch the UI and open DraftSight again, that's it. Basically, switch to dark mode. And of course, you'll see when you open the new drawing or open your existing drawings in dark mode, all the menus, ribbons, palettes are all in the dark mode. As I said, this is a really highly anticipated and requested feature that we've included in DraftSight 2022, and it makes it much easier on your eyes. For example, I tend to use most of my software in dark mode nowadays. So the next one's spline. So for those who make smooth lines, the spline command in DraftSight is used to create smooth curves, which passes through a set of predefined points, I guess. Now in DraftSight 2022, you can use control vertices rather than the simple fit points that we had before as a method to create and control a spline. And with this method, you can clearly see the control vertices pass through the reference circles rather than the spline itself. And controlling the spline using these control vertices provides much better results than just by moving the fit points manually. The new properties are added for a spline in the properties pane for things like how it was created, the degrees, and whether the spline's closed or not. And there's also a new spline edit command with multiple options to edit the spline. And also a much requested enhancement in 2022 is the ability to now convert a spline to a polyline. So that's a nice addition that we've got coming up in November. Okay, so the next topic is a big one. This was something brought in DraftSight 2021 around the sheet set manager. Okay. So this was, as I said, was released in DraftSight 2021, and it's a really handy organizer to help you manage a large set of drawing sheets across multiple DWG files without having to open the sheets individually, for example, to apply the properties and print settings globally. So you can create a subset that controls selected sheets more precisely and efficiently. You can apply properties from the top level to save time and make sure consistency is across the board. And DraftSight 2022 provides additional enhancements to the sheet set manager functionality. So let's take a look. You now have the ability to create a customized summary table based on the sheet sets, and you can use the sheet set list table to quickly access and open any of the sheets on the list. You also have the convenience of customizing the sheet list table by specifying the data type they wish to be displayed, like maybe like the sheet title, or in this case the drawing author. We've also added a new option of name selection sets. Now, this allows you to name a selection of sheets and recall the selection for later use. Now, this is really useful in cases where you need to do things like repetitive actions like plotting or publishing for a select set of sheets. And you can save these sheets as a selection set and use them later to quickly plot or publish, for example. It's a real time saver. And the DWF publish feature allows users to output each selected sheet to an individual DWF file, and this can be shared with others who want to review the file but don't necessarily have access to a DWG editor. And if you've ever sent what you thought was a complete set of drawing files to a client or a subcontractor, well, invariably they come back, the clients, and come back and ask for missing information like the slides, fonts, excerpts, or other drawing files. And this is a common issue. And Pack and Go in DraftSight can really help this. So Pack and Go packages all the drawings and support files needed to properly display for your client as a subcontractor. And Pack and Go can even create a zip file or a folder with all the drawing and support files for your project. Using Pack and Go, you'll no longer need to send a missing drawing or support file after the fact. All the files will be included in one convenient package. And it can be real time consuming and very error prone to organize and print large amounts of drawing sheets across huge drawing DWG files. And so these enhancements to DraftSight Sheet Set Manager will definitely save a lot of time and effort organizing these massive sheet sets. Okay, so those are the enhancements in core DraftSight 2022. Annika touched on the next subject briefly in her introduction, but I'm going to talk about it in a little bit more detail and show all of you a little bit about what it looks like. This is 3D Experience DraftSight Professional. So really the fundamental part of this is, you know, we've listened to how many of our users work, whether this is with 2D or 3D. And the core fundamentals are that you as designers want to design, and we don't want to take the focus away from your processes of designing, but we also realize that you need to manage the files that you design, and invariably you want to share them, whether it's internally with a design team, externally with subcontractors or suppliers or customers or whoever. And having a secure way to do this that's convenient is really important. And this is why the 3D Experience platform is perfect, especially for 2D users in allowing us to manage and share using an established cloud technology. So I'm going to just take a quick poll, if I can, on this. Just bear with me a second. So the poll is, do you often need to share your content? So let me, okay. It's a good mix, I think, coming in. Thanks for all your replies. I know these polls can get a little bit repetitive, but it does help us tailor the content that we present, and also for future webinars to make it more relevant. Okay, that's settled down. So thank you very much for that. So definitely a mix, I think, of people who share things. It sounds like the majority of you sharing content very regularly, at least every day or every week. And of course, there's many of us who just work on our own, and this isn't such a big deal. So that's good as well. So let's move on the slides. Let me just make my screen a little bit bigger so you can see that. Okay, so this is what the 3D Experience platform looks like, and it basically you just log into it in a web browser. So let me just there we go. So we can see up here on the top right hand side, I'm playing the role of Ed, the engineer. So I'm logged in. I've got lots of commands I can look at, you know, like adding content, sharing content, looking at other users within the my user network, whether that's internal or external. So all of us can log into this one platform and share content. So when I move on to, hold on, let me just roll down a bit. Over on the left-hand side, you can see here I've got my favorite applications. So, you know, for some of our engineering users using complex capabilities, they have lots of different applications that they can access through the platform, whether this is 2D, 3D, simulation, manufacturing information, all of that. I'm just representing here a typical 2D user who may have access to DraftSight, but some of these other applications that we'll see in a few minutes. If we look on the central band here, we can see our cloud storage. Now, these individual panels that you can see are totally customizable to make the user experience easy for you. So the central panel we can see here is our cloud storage. So for those of you familiar with Dropbox or Google Drive, you can actually see there we connect to your own Dropbox and Google Drive if you want. But within My Files, which is stored on our cloud platform, we can see that we've got some typical DWG files. And again, we'll see a little bit more of this as we go into the demo. And over on the right-hand side, what I've got there is an application, what we call a widget, which allows us to view content. Now, in this case, we're looking at a DWG file, the industry DWG file that we saw earlier in the demo, but it could just as well view 3D content from, I don't know, SolidWorks or other files, other CAD systems, or even, you know, PDFs, documents, you name it. It's basically just a universal viewer. So if we take a look at the demonstration, what we're going to see is that the user is going to launch DraftSight from within the web page. Okay, you can launch it from your typical shortcut, but this just shows that we can open DraftSight from within in the web page. Let me just move on, something like that. Okay, let me start again. Sorry. So we're in the web page there. We're looking at our cloud storage over here. So the user's selecting the drawings that they want to work on, and just by dragging them into the DraftSight interface, we can see we've opened our three DWG files: the industry air, the full plant, and the the kitchen remodeling drawing. Oh, admittedly, a different set of types of drawing from a full factory layout to a kitchen, but it just shows how easy it is to drag your content from your cloud storage straight into the DraftSight interface. If we move on now and we're inside the plant layout, we're going to make some changes. So we've got a couple of trucks there, and we're going to turn that into 3. We've got an empty bay there. And when we hit save, we can see that that is now saving that modified file back up into the cloud. Okay, so that's just showing Windows Explorer, which gives you a view of where your files are stored. Okay, so on the next, let me go to the next. I'm just having a few PowerPoint problems. So when we go back to our web page, now when we refresh the viewer over on the right hand side, you'll see that that change is automatically updated. So anybody who's got access to this will see the change. And in fact, we've got tools within this viewer to allow us to redline and markup onto the viewable. So we're not actually modifying the DWG file, we're just adding useful comments on there for other people to take advantage of. And in fact, another part of the demo that we don't necessarily show in this format is we can take that DWG file and share it in a community, and a community is just almost like a Facebook type process where different people can comment and add ideas and share information. So now that we've modified that file, we can see that information at the top has been the industry A has been modified, and we can see when it was changed and who changed it. And I might want to share this modified file with another member of the team. So if I share it with a user general contractor, add a comment in there for Jill to the concept is ready for the meeting, it means that everything is controlled and shared rather than just sending random emails around or even using something like Google Drive where we don't necessarily know exactly which file we're going to be talking about. Another question we get asked about with the sharing is, can I just share it with someone who's not in the 3D Experience platform? Of course, you can just send a link to that DWG file, which will allow that external user the ability to just click a link and download the DWG file and work on it and send it back to you. But of course, the key is that everything is stored for yourselves within the security of our cloud platform. So in summing up around 3D Experience DraftSight Professional, of course, we don't want to take away that creativity that all you guys exhibit every day around design, whether it's 2D or 3D. So the top point is always going to be paramount. The design and the innovation is key. What we want to add is a capability, of course, to be able to manage that data securely in the cloud, so you know that it's always safe with version control, maturity, and all of that. And then, of course, being able to share that all that great content with anyone who needs it, and make sure that sharing is secure and people are getting the right information at the right time. Okay, so that's me finished, Annika. Do you want me to hand back?
You. Yeah, please. And thank you so much, Ian. I will start with a poll. We are just ending up more or less, but we have a couple more slides which I think could be useful for you. But it would be nice to hear if you want to learn more about DraftSight and what you would like to learn more about DraftSight, so we can come back and help you in different ways. Seems to be a pretty good mix here too. I'm glad to see that many would like to know more. Let it go for a few seconds more. Thank you so much. And I have a couple of slides which I really would like to share. I know time is running out slightly, but I think this, if you want to know more or try it from your side, there is a possibility to try DraftSight for free for 30 days. And you go to dravsight.com/free trial and download it. Very easy just to jump on and move forward straight away. So this is something I really recommend you to do in case you want to try it. You can also find more information at dravsight.com or for the cloud version at 2dcat.com. And for those who really want to go even more further to maximize the return of CAD software, there is an opportunity to buy 3 DraftSight enterprise licenses for the price of 2. And in case you're interested in this, contact your reseller today, or you can even come to me in case you don't know your reseller, and you will get an email after the webinar with my email address and also the recording of this webinar. So I really would like to thank you for your time and attention for this webinar. I hope it was useful for you.